Welcome back to Game of Theories, where I introduce theories of management, administration, and leadership. This is episode 38. Today we'll explore social impact theory. It's a theory introduced by psychologist Bibb Latané in 1981. The social impact theory explains how the presence and actions of others can influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Social impact theory has been applied to many areas. I'll introduce how it is applied to explain diffusion of social responsibility and social loafing. First, what is social impact? It's defined as any influence on individual feelings, thoughts, or behaviors that are created from the real, implied, or imagined presence or actions of others. Social impact can be thought of as social forces similar to physical forces such as gravity. Just as physical forces exert an influence on objects, social forces represent the influence exerted by others on individuals in social contexts. This analogy helps conceptualize social impact as a driving force that shapes people's thoughts, emotions, and behavior within social interactions, similar to how physical forces shape the movement of objects in the physical world. Social impact theory proposes three principles that shape the dynamics of social influence. An individual's social impact is determined by three factors: strength, immediacy, and number of influence sources. We can represent this relationship with an equation. Strength means how powerful or important an influence source is. It covers status, prestige, authority, size, intellect, wealth, as well as dynamic, situation specific relational components like belonging to the same group. Imagine Deborah in your organization has a high position and authority. Her influence would be stronger compared to a low employee when it comes to decision making or policy implementation. Immediacy means how recent an event occurred or proximity in space. It's influenced by physical distance or communication barriers. If you receive feedback immediately after completing a task, it has a more significant impact on your future performance compared to feedback given much later. Similarly, if you receive feedback directly from your supervisor rather than through intermediaries, it tends to have a stronger impact. The number of sources refers to the number of people attempting to exert influence. If 5 colleagues express their support for a new idea, it is more likely to have a stronger impact on decision making compared to just one colleague advocating for it. The social impact experienced by an individual is determined by multiplying three factors together, and the impact increases as each factor increases. However, if any of these factors is zero or very low, it will significantly influence the overall social impact. According to the social impact theory, when it comes to the number of sources influencing a target, the impact is more significant in smaller groups than in larger groups. This can be explained by a psychosocial law represented by this equation. In the equation, the impact experienced by an individual is determined by a scaling constant, S, multiplied by the number of sources, N, raised to power T. Let me use an example to explain this equation. Imagine a team where the manager needs to influence the team members to meet a deadline. If the team has only 2 members and the manager adds a third member who brings valuable skills and expertise, the social impact on the team's motivation and productivity is likely to be significant. However, if the team already has 20 members and the manager adds just one more team member, the impact may be not as noticeable or influential. This is why the value of the exponent t is expected to be less than 1. as the number of influence sources N increases, the social impact experienced by an individual grows. But this incremental increase diminishes as the number of sources gets larger. In other words, the impact of each additional source becomes less influential as the total number of sources increases. When T is less than 1, it means that the relationship between the number of sources and the resulting impact is diminishing. It indicates that the impact experienced by an individual increases more significantly when the number of sources goes from a small number to a slightly larger number, rather than when it goes from a large number to a slightly larger number. The third principle of social impact theory explains how impact is influenced by the number and the nature of influence sources and targets. When multiple sources of influence are present, the impact is intensified, whereas having multiple targets diminishes the impact. Imagine a management team trying to influence an employee, Bob, to adopt a new work process. If multiple team members, each with a strong expertise and immediate proximity to Bob, collectively promote the change, the social impact on Bob's behavior and acceptance of the new process is expected to be stronger. The combined strength, immediacy, and the number of the influencing team members multiply and influence the social impact on Bob. Now let's flip the scenario. You are a department head. You want to convince your team members to embrace a new work process. Your social impact would be divided across the team members because each individual has their own level of receptiveness to change. Your strength as an influencing source, including your position of authority and expertise, is spread out among the team members. The immediacy of your influence in terms of the closeness of your relationship with each team member also varies from person to person. The principle of social impact theory can be used to explain diffusion of responsibility. Diffusion of responsibility is people's tendency to feel less accountable or responsible for taking action when they are part of a larger group. In other words, as the number of people present increases, individuals may perceive a reduced personal obligation to respond or help in a given situation. When a crisis or emergency occurs, such as an accident or medical emergency, the impact of the situation is also reduced. People may believe that someone else in the group will take charge or offer assistance, leading to a diffusion of responsibility. For example, imagine a crowded street where a person suddenly collapses. In this scenario, the presence of many bystanders may lead us to assume that someone else will intervene or call for help. The impact of the emergency is diluted across the larger group, reducing the immediacy of response. In the workplace, diffusion of responsibility can lead to a decrease in individual initiative and effort. If team members believe that others will take charge, they may be less motivated to actively contribute, innovate, or take risks. This can result in a lack of proactive engagement and reduced overall productivity. Diffusion of responsibility can also influence decision-making within a team. When multiple individuals are involved, decision-making responsibilities can be diffused across the group. This diffusion can lead to slower decision-making processes, increased indecisiveness, and the diffusion of personal responsibility for the outcome of those decisions. How to apply social impact theory to explain social loafing? The term social loafing was introduced in a 1979 article. Social loafing describes a phenomenon that people put in less effort on group tasks compared to individual tasks. Applying social impact theory to explain social loafing, we look at the factors that influence social impact: strength, immediacy, and the number of influence sources. In the context of social loafing, strength is the perceived importance or impact of an individual's contribution to the group task. When working in a group, we may perceive our individual efforts as less crucial or influential compared to when working alone. The reduced strength of our individual contribution can lead to a decrease in the effort we put in the group task. Immediacy in social loafing means the psychological and the physical closeness between the individual and the task, as well as the other group members. While working in a group, we may feel less immediate accountability for our individual performance, as the responsibility is shared among the group. This decreased immediacy can result in reduced effort because we may feel less personally connected to the task and less motivated to perform at our highest level. The number of influence sources also play an important role in social loafing. As the number of group members increases, the diffusion of responsibility occurs. We may see a decrease in our personal impact on the overall group outcome, leading to a reduced sense of accountability and effort. With more people involved, the individual effort required to achieve the group's goal becomes less apparent, contributing to social loafing. Recognizing those factors that influence how motivated people are in group projects and collaboration, leaders and administrators can work to mitigate social loafing, such as designing an optimal group size, providing incentives and rewards for individual contributions, sanctioning social loafing, developing policies and procedures to ensure personal accountability, and making tasks meaningful. Another term related to social loafing is free riding. While social loafing is a broader concept that refers to a general decrease in effort in a group context, free riding is a specific behavior within social loafing. Free riding is a form of opportunistic behavior where an individual takes advantage of the group's resources or efforts while avoiding personal effort or investment. Free riders essentially ride along on the efforts of others, reaping the benefits without putting in their fair share of work. Free riders drink the water but don't carry the water. Well, social impact theory has contributed significantly to our understanding of social influence. It's not immune to criticism. One criticism is that social impact theory portrays individuals as passive recipients of social influence, neglecting their active role in seeking out and influence social situations. However, in reality, people actively seek social impact and influence others in different ways. For example, consider a marketing campaign where individuals actively seek out information and engage with advertisements rather than simply being passive recipients of the message. The social impact theory's focus on influence sources may overlook the proactive behavior of individuals in shaping social interactions. Second, social impact theory is criticized for its static nature, failing to capture the dynamic nature of social interactions. For example, consider a team project where the initial impact of team members' contributions may be strong, but over time, individuals' effort and motivation may fluctuate. The theory's static model may not fully account for these variations and changes in social impact and influence dynamics. Third, there are unresolved issues within social impact theory, such as measuring social outcomes and understanding the significance of exponent T in the psychosocial law. For example, in studying the impact of social media on individuals, researchers may struggle to accurately measure a wide range of social outcomes, such as changes in behavior, attitudes, or well being. Moreover, understanding the exact value and interpretation of the exponent T in the equation remains an ongoing challenge in terms of its specific implications and underlying mechanisms. Those criticisms highlight the limitation of the social impact theory in capturing the active role of the targets of the social impact, accounting for dynamic social interactions and addressing unresolved issues in measurement and interpretation. The responsibility lies upon you to refine social impact theory in order to enhance the theory's applicability and explanatory power in complex social contexts. Thanks for watching this video on social impact theory. If you are interested in learning more about theories of management, administration, and leadership, be sure to tune in into my future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to know more about how to build a theoretical framework for your research, check out my book titled Demystify Theories, a workbook for developing theoretical frameworks of educational leadership research. The link of the book is in the description below.